Because they're cutting border guards, because they're sacrificing our sovereignty to the United States, and they're gutting the Department of Fisheries because they're surrendering that industry to large international companies.
That's right.
This is part of their ideology. This is what they do. None of this shit is random. It's part of a plan. None of these actions are isolated. They actually know what they're doing. They have it fully figured out. They also know how to spin it to beguile people who aren't really paying attention. So we have to get on the hop. We have to explain this to people. Go out and find a conservative. Tell them what's going on.
Yeah, you know, it's pretty easy too. All you have to do is listen to them for a while, and you can see which hook got them. And once you figure out which hook the conservatives were managed to pull them in with, you can deconstruct it. And you know, maybe not, but at least there's a chance that those people will think about those issues again, and maybe they won't vote conservative. You know, like there's not much else we can do. We need to have responsible adult conversations with these people. Absolutely. I mean, what we do on our show, you know, me and you kind of blow off our steam, and we get angry at times, but some of these people are our friends, our neighbors, our relatives, and there are conversations to be had with them. And you know, even if we only change 1 out of every 10 person's mind, that's a person who might make a different choice next time around. So
if we could change 1 out of 10, well, that's the margin of victory right there. That's awesome. 10%. Oh my God! If we could flip.
Yeah, maybe 10. I'm shooting high.
Yeah, no, that would be an amazing goal to reach there. Don't just say even if it's 1 out of 10. That would decimate the Conservative Party. That would decimate the Conservative Party.
I suppose even 1 out of 100 might be a success.
Yeah, yeah. And it's not just people that vote conservative. It's about because some of them can't be reached because they're not the sharp. Some of them are just not the sharpest knives in the drawer. Let's face it. There's people who don't vote. Almost half the people in this eligible people in this country do not vote. And when you realize that unless you do politics, politics will do you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? People don't understand how something like LIBOR can impact their actual lives. You know, you go take your average electrician who works his butt off, and he relies on that pension fund, and that pension fund is pegged to LIBOR. You know, and LIBOR is being gamed to bilk that pension fund. If you can make that electrician understand that his hard work is just funneling into the pockets of bankers and speculators, I think you're going to have a pissed off electrician who might get more interested in politics and maybe get out to vote next time, eh?
I think so.
Well,
I think so. And you know, as much as you know, people might want to paint it and say that governments of all different stripes have been involved in this deregulation, I would counter that just really quickly by saying, if there are quote-unquote left-leaning governments, like say Tony Blair's former government in the United Kingdom, or other governments that claim to be Labour or socialists, if they do act like a right-wing government, well, guess what? Then they're a right-wing government. The deregulation always comes from a right-wing attitude, and it's about making business easier for the extremely wealthy corporation and reducing tax bases, and it does nothing for citizens of any country.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely,
it only helps corporations, and as far as I know, corporations only get to vote with their money. And you know, we get to vote in these representative democracies once every 3, 4, maybe 5 years. And if we don't do that, you know, it's just unreasonable to step away from something like that, where at least we still have the chance to make a choice every 4 years. So I don't know, Tony. Well, what do you say? What do you say that maybe we do a future show, all entirely on tactics and ways of of approaching the various
Yeah.
quote unquote political voters.
Exactly. How do the conservatives get so many people in our society to vote against their own economic self-interest? Why do people believe it when a conservative politician tells them, hey, if we create a system that favors rich people, it'll benefit you? Like, how does that logic gain traction in the minds of people who are of the middle class origin, or lower middle class origin? How does that idea gain traction? Right? It's because of fear. It's because these people are governing with a gun to our heads, making us think that we depend on the generosity of rich people in our society in order to have a functioning economy. So if they say, as soon as you say, oh well, maybe we should dial up the taxes on the uber rich, or maybe shut down some tax havens, maybe capital flight laws have to be instituted, or maybe we can try to separate or impel corporations to part with some of the cash hoards that they're sitting on. Okay. Maybe when we say that to governments, we can't believe them when they say, if you do that, then those rich people and those corporations are going to destroy the economy that you rely on by going somewhere else. How often do you hear that? Oh, tax the rich, they'll go somewhere else. Really? Well, are they going to go somewhere else and have access to the kind of resources that we have in Canada? Canada is the kind of country that has to set an example for the rest of the world, because the people here have strength. Our economy is a resource economy. You can't get our resources out of the country without doing business in the country, right? I mean, I understand that in London, all those banks can go and can move anywhere they want. They can move to the Cayman Islands and do business. They move their computers. That's all they have to do. You know what I mean? So London's economy, I can see that it's toast if they cave to pressures to regulate banks and etc. Because what do they have? Banks and sheep? Is that what they have?
Right. And yet, like you're saying, though, the only choice, and I mean, it's not the most revolutionary choice in what could be done to change the world, but re-regulating financial institutions, seems like a sensible thing to do. They've been deregulated enough. They've caused enough havoc, and it's a game of chicken that they play when, like you suggested earlier, when they say like, oh, everybody with money will just not invest in Canada. It's simply not true. And I mean, maybe some people move to other places and might invest elsewhere, but essentially these people are driven to make profits, and if there's profits to be made in various countries, they're gonna be there. Yeah, they're gonna be looking for them.
So in Canada, they're gonna say, oh well, the moneyed interests and the international corporations and the banks and the speculators, what are they gonna do? They're gonna, sure, let them go to the Cayman Islands. Do the Cayman Islands, like, they won't have to pay taxes there? I understand that, but will they be able to have access to the third largest oil resources in the world? Will they have the second biggest boreal forest in the world? Will they have the riches of mineral resources that we have here in Canada? Will they have the biggest freshwater reserves in the world? Canada is the country that has to set the tone for change in the rest of the world, because rich people can't put us over a barrel here. You can go go ahead, take off, rich people. You can't take the oil with you unless we agree to it. You know what I mean? And we have control of it. And being a democracy and having these resources puts us in the strongest position in the world to set an example.
Absolutely. And Stephen Harper doesn't seem to want to do that for us, and that's why we're doing this, because we need anything but Stephen Harper. They used to say anything but conservative, and I suppose that is now replaced by anything but Stephen Harper.
I'd even take a conservative, a real conservative.
Yeah, give me a real conservative.
Can we have Brian Mulroney back, please? Seriously, man.
Yeah, I know. Anyway. That's spooky, just even being able to say that.
Isn't it bizarre and surreal? Could you have said that in 1991? Like, I remember
I think I probably would have slapped you back then. Or maybe a little bit later, because in 1981 I was only about
91,
10.
91.
Or 91, okay.
Yeah,
Well, at least
that'd be the culmination of the Mulroney years.
Yeah. Well,
Amazing.
you know, I'm sure over the next 7 days, Stephen Harper and his minions will give us another shitload of craptastic stuff from the Conservative Reform Alliance Party, and we'll come back and we'll do number 32.
Absolutely, Mike. Well, thank you. It was a pleasure, and congratulations on the 31 episode milestone. And I would like to leave our listeners with a parting thought, and I believe we've proven it during this show, is that trickle-down economics is absolute bullshit. And we should go out right now with a track called Super Duper Rescue Heads by Deerhoof. Sayonara, Mike.